right, thanks.
Here's the next one.
Oh, perfect. All right, thanks. Swap, same thing. Okay.
Exhibits are not numbered.
Oh, they are. Are they? What page are they on? Oh, are they just all these pages? Yeah. Oh, okay, so. There's a total of 10. Total of 10?
Everywhere.
Unless you want to. I'll just mark them as we go along. Okay, I should be good. Okay, I should be good.
Call the BZA meeting to order. Ask everyone to please silence your cell phones. Stand for the pledge of allegiance. I pledge
Allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Zoning clerk, please call the roll.
Sure. Let's see. Don Sutton,
Here.
Jason Acevedo, Larry Herman,
Here.
Brad Cook,
Here.
Michelle Cook, here, Quinn Mackin,
Here.
Jessica Kingsley, here.
Thank you. And are you able to verify that the meeting was advertised?
Yes. If we could.
I did ask for that earlier today, but I still have it.
Yeah, on Facebook and the township website and the township Facebook page on September 26th, 2025.
Okay, thank you. And before we finish tonight, we need to sign the minutes, so I would ask, has everyone had a chance to take a look at the minutes sent out? So, can I have a motion to approve?
I'll make a motion to approve the minutes for 9/24/25 meeting minutes.
Thank you, and do I have a second?
I'll second.
Okay, Mr. Cook,
Yes.
Mr. Mackin,
Yes.
Mrs. Cook,
Yes.
Mr. Herman,
Yes.
Mr. Sutton.
Yes. Thank you, and we'll make sure we sign those before we leave tonight. We're here this evening to hear an application, BZA 25-006, filed by Anthony Mazzadino, 600 North Old State Road, Delaware, Ohio 43015, parcel number 4181200100400. The applicant has requested a variance side yard setback on accessory building. The parcel is plus or minus 2.1 acres north of State Route 37. Ask that zone clerk read the exhibits into record.
Sure. Before I start, do you have a copy of the legal notice in your packet? No. Okay, I think we should add that to the exhibits. And do you have a list of, I don't know if you usually get it, but the adjacent property owner notices?
No, we did not get that.
They
Do you not usually get that, right, okay, I'll add this,
The letter.
write the letter, okay.
I did ask today, they did get, that was mailed to the neighbors. I did ask for that, but it's.
Yeah, I think I have a copy of it, so
You do
I'll
have
add,
it?
yeah, I have, I'll make sure that this is, and the application itself is not usually an exhibit, is it? Is it? I can't remember. Usually, okay, so these are not labeled, but, the first exhibit will be, exhibit 1 will be the application itself with the response by the property owner. Exhibit 2 is a property information from the Delaware County Auditor's website that shows the property owner and address. Exhibit 3 is a neighbor approval letter from our neighbors Sandy Thrasher at 594 North Old State Road and David Mrazinski at 580 North Old State Road. And exhibit 4 is a survey of the subject property. Let's see here. We have exhibit 5 that looks like a close-up copy of a survey, a zoomed in version. And let's see here. Exhibit 6 looks like an aerial photo from the county auditor's website of the subject property with, I think, the square on it. Is that where the building's going?
Yeah, because that matches the previous one that you just brought
Oh, okay. Okay, and, exhibit 7 looks like a photo of the property. Maybe, exhibit 8 is another.
GPS signal lost.
Exhibit 8 is another photo of the property. Exhibit 9 is another photo of the property. And exhibit 10 is another photo of the property. I don't know if these are in the right order, but. And then exhibit 11 will be the, you guys don't have this, but the adjacent property owner letter of notification. And then exhibit 12 is a list of the neighbors that were notified by certified mail. Looks like there's 2 pages for that. So that will be 2 pages. And the last exhibit will be exhibit 13, and I don't think you have this either. That is the proof that the hearing was posted on the township Facebook page and on the website on September 26, 2025.
Just so I heard that correctly, do we know when the signs were posted?
No.
Do you know when you posted?
I can tell you that
Before I have you answer that question, I'll ask you to stand up and be sworn in by the court reporter.
Because right now, the historical culture, is not about this.
that was Friday the 3rd of October.
Yeah, thank you. And could you please state your name?
Anthony Macedonia.
Thank you, Anthony. So we're here to hear an area variance. Just a few items that I need to clarify. know how your land is zoned? It's not listed on the application. Or anybody on the board is looks at.
What about the map? Could we look on the big map in the back? This has the numbers on it. This would be your property right here?
Take a look at it?
Yeah. Cause here's North Old State.
So what is it?
Is this what happening here? That would be FR1.
Okay. Thank you, Michelle. You're talking about low density residential standards, R1. That's what I have right. FR1, sorry. So it's FR1. You're asking for a side yard setback variance. The side yard setback, except as modified by the Board of Zoning Appeals, no building or structure shall be located closer than 25 feet to any side lot line. So that's what we're discussing tonight. And that's FR1, section 7.06. And then F is the side yard setback. So then as we looked at an area variance, what we will consider this evening is Duncan versus Middlefield. And our applicant has filled out those questions. And I'll just read through those so that everyone knows what we'll be discussing. In considering an application for an area variance, the Board of Zoning Appeals shall observe the spirit of the resolution and weigh the competing interests of the applicant and the community. The factors to be considered and weighed in determining whether an applicant has encountered practical difficulties include, but are not limited to the following. A, whether the property in question will yield a reasonable return or whether there can be any beneficial use of the property without the variance. Whether the variance is substantial, whether the essential character of the neighborhood would be substantially altered, or whether adjoining properties of the comprehensive plan for the community would suffer a substantial detriment as a result of the variance. Whether the variance would adversely affect the delivery of governmental services, whether the property owner purchased the property with knowledge of the zoning restrictions. F, whether the owner's predicament feasibly can be obviated through some method other than a variance. G, whether the spirit and intent behind the zoning requirements would be observed and substantial justice done by granting the variance. And H, citation from Duncan versus Middlefield, 1986, 23, Ohio State 3D 83. So those are the items that we'll be considering tonight, as we hear the area variance. And I would ask our applicant to go ahead and, give us a, you stand up or stay seated, but just give us a, description of what you're looking at building and why you're asking for variance.
Sure. So I'm asking for a reduction of this side yard setback from 25 feet to 15 feet for an accessory building. The building, as planned currently, is 34 feet wide by 44 feet deep. And the reason I would like to build it in that location is due to kind of the topography of the property. That is the only suitable location for a building. The north portion of the property line is kind of a steep ravine, so it wouldn't be suitable. And then also the location of the house on the property kind of limits the available space on the back portion of the property to put up an accessory building.
And it appears that there's a lot in front of you and behind you.
That's correct. The side yard runs along another long driveway, and then alongside that driveway is another long driveway. So the closest building that could be built, let's say you were to offer the same variance to the property, it's two properties over, the closest building would be 150 feet from where that building is.
I'm sorry, you said 150 feet from what?
The closest structure would still be 150 feet away from where we're
The accessory building?
asking to build.
Sorry.
So I'm looking at exhibit number 3, which is your neighbor approvals. Unless there's another survey. Well, let me actually look at exhibit number 5. It says, have you had this surveyed?
This survey had already been done. I had done a survey of the property for another reason on the other corner of the property, and he had found this online, so I just used that.
So the side yard would be on this south border.
That's correct. I don't know if yours is in color, but I've highlighted 15 feet to where I'm drawing the building in.
So my question would be, what is to the north side of the proposed building?
There's a play set, and then it's a wooded area, and that kind of, that's where the property kind of drops down and go into the ravine.
So can this building move 10 feet towards that place set?
Yes and no. Yes, could I take the place set down and put the building there? Yes. However, my concern there is now the building is predominantly right behind the house, and there's not enough room between the back of the house and the front of the building to have access into the building.
Let's go ahead and go through your questions here.
I have a question real quick, if we could. You mentioned accessory building. On here, it's marked as storage building. Does that change how we look at this? Or are you building a storage building or?
I was under the impression that the two terms were interchangeable. It is it's a storage building.
On page 2, it talks about barn. Is the barn the same entity, or is there a different structure that you're calling a barn?
On page 2.
Of your application.
I
like number 6, there's no other location on our property suitable for a barn.
That's correct. I'm using pole barn as kind of a general terminology for accessory storage.
Okay. Okay.
Mhm.
And then basically what's gonna be the purpose, what are you gonna do with it exactly?
We've recently inherited some things from my father-in-law and my father, and we are trying to put up a building so we can store those items. It'll be a little workshop area.
Because in the code, there is a difference between a storage and accessory. Correct?
I'm not sure, but we can look that up.
So everything on here says storage, so that's why I'm just making sure. And barn, so.
Back to FR1, section 7. You guys wanna help me at the same time look that up?
Well, that's why I was asking a little bit, because there's, for example, in the prohibition, there's, unused vehicles and trailers, there's some things that wouldn't necessarily fit into that, that approval category, and I don't know if you were, it was a working barn, or what exactly?
I guess I would consider it a hobby barn.
And there'd be one door, several doors, ingress and egress is comprised of what?
There is currently a plan for one man door and one garage door.
And that garage door is not involved with this setback area whatsoever, it's off into an open area, or where would that be?
The garage door, would be,
It's facing the house.
facing the house.
Okay.
Yeah, so as you look at the house, the garage, you'd see a man door and a garage door.
I think we'll be fine, 'cause he's not talking about anybody.
Excuse me?
I think we'll be fine, 'cause he's not talking about anybody working in there or.
Because the accessory building talked about having living quarters for,
That's why I was making sure there wasn't any living quarters.
farmhands.
It's 703B.
What?
703B talks about accessory building uses.
Private garages.
And under D, it says facilities for storage. I think we're okay with the building structure. Additional questions? Go ahead and go through on your application, the Duncan versus Middlefield. I'll just read through these and I'll ask for your response, and you can read what you have or you can add to that. Whether the property in question will yield a reasonable return or whether there can be a beneficial use of the property without the variance.
If I understand the question correctly, the property would still yield a reasonable return without the variance.
Whether the variance is substantial.
So I have written in, due to the location of the variance only impacting neighboring driveways, I believe that the request is not substantial.
whether the essential character of the neighborhood would be substantially altered or adjoining property suffer substantial detriment.
My response was no substantial detriment due to the location of the building, only impacting neighboring long driveways. And then I would add that due to the location and those two long driveways, the closest building could be at a minimum would be 150 feet away.
Whether the variance would adversely affect the delivery of governmental services.
Yep.
Whether the property owner purchased the property with knowledge of the zoning restrictions.
Now, this was our first home, and at the time, I don't think I knew what a setback was, and I also didn't, I didn't think we'd be in the home long enough to where I would want to build more, but kind of changed our plans and like to stay there long term.
Okay. Whether the problem can be solved by some other manner other than the granting of a variance.
My response was there's no other location on the property suitable for the structure.
Whether the variance preserves the spirit and intent of the zoning requirements, and whether substantial justice would be done by granting the variance.
And again, I did some research on this question. If I understand correctly, they try to preserve the reason for the zoning rules are to preserve the spirit of the neighborhood. And then my answer is two driveways between the barn location and the nearest location for their structure. That puts I wrote 120, but it's actually 150 feet between structures. And I feel like the spirit and intent is preserved.
Additional questions from the board after reading through the questions?
I've got a couple. Can you discuss these shared driveways? So, in other words, are there two driveways that are parallel to each other side by side?
So, as stated earlier, there's a house in front of ours, and our house, and there's a house behind ours.
So tract one is the one that's in front of you.
That's correct. We're track 2. Track 3 owns the long portion that's adjacent to our property, which is where our driveway is. So we have a shared driveway agreement with track 1, track 2, and track 3.
And then what is on farm lot 13?
Farm lot 13 is exhibit 3 where Dave Rosansky approved the variance, and that is also his driveway to get to his property. That you can't see from the survey, but it sits towards the back of his property and towards the south side of his property.
And then what happens beyond this survey area up here and over here? The point of my question is, if these people were to sell or expand, or what else is happening out here?
That's all. Everything behind us is State Park, Allen Creek State Park.
Okay. That's nice.
I have a question. Where, is that on sewer or do you have a septic?
We have septic.
Where is that located?
It is in front of our
Front
house.
house.
Yes.
What about any other additional power lines?
No, all of the
Or electric underground?
all of the electric underground, the water, it comes into the house, just behind the house, and then it comes directly from close to the shared drive. So it kind of comes right behind the house into the back of the house.
What about, so others of these, we've had also the layout from the county in the sewer.
You said you had a septic.
Pardon me?
You said you had a septic, so
Well- How could it impact the guy behind him?
Yeah, I would say that he wasn't instructed to bring in the sewer.
Pardon me?
If
If he wasn't instructed to bring in the sewer, I'm not sure if we can
Okay.
hold up the hearing on that part. I mean, I know if his septic line would be where he wants to build the building, you're not gonna get an approval from the county on that, so.
I do know that the water line runs on the opposite side of the driveway.
For you and for,
For track 3, the water line is on the south side of their driveway, which would be in the middle of the 2 long driveways.
oh, so their water is actually on the property to the,
Well, it's on their property, but it's on the opposite side of their driveway from our property.
What type of swing set is on the property there?
It's a wooden playhouse swing set situation.
I'm just trying to understand the shifting that building 10 feet to the north.
It essentially puts, so if you're looking at the house, to the right of the house, I would have a gravel drive that goes back to the building, and then the overhead door lines up with where the driveway would be. So if it shifted 10 feet behind the house, the driveway would have to jog to get into the overhead door in a span of, I think it's like 35 feet.
That's one of the things that we have to take into consideration on our
Sure, I understand.
Can you share, on the overhead, there's 4 homes in addition to yours? And in the neighbor approvals, there's only 2 approvals. Have you spoke with the other 2 homeowners?
Which is the 4th? I don't have that in front of me.
So there's an overhead shot, and you have house, and the house
Okay.
in front. And you answered, I think, that one of them was track 3, which I believe is this one.
Okay.
David Murray.
Farm lot 13, David and Sandy, the 2 approvals I got.
Yep.
When I was going through that to figure out who to get approvals from, signatures from neighbors, I think those 2 houses, I measured it online, and it was far enough away that I didn't think it impacted them at all, because their driveway is farther towards Norfolk State. I didn't think that impacted their property really at all.
and both of those names are on the list of adjacent property owners.
So they were notified.
Yes.
Additional questions? As I go back through the questions here, whether the property would yield a reasonable return, our applicant has very fairly stated that yes, this property still has a reasonable return, so appreciate your answer on that one. Whether the variance is substantial, you know, that's the biggest decision we'll have to make here tonight. It's at 10 feet, you know, at 12 and a half feet, we're talking about 50% reduction in the variance, so we're probably about 40% of that variance you know, if we look at the map, it's going closer to a shared driveway. There's not neighboring houses that really come into effect. It's also, I'm guessing, several hundred feet off of North Old State Road.
Cool. My property sits back from Old State 414 feet.
So, you know, you each have to answer whether it's a substantial detriment based on that. Affecting government services, I think you could probably all agree that that was a no. As he stated, he purchased property, he was unaware of those zoning restrictions. Whether the problem can be solved by some other manner other than granting a variance, this was a challenging one because there is land under the structure 10 feet to the north. You do have a place out there, and then
So I wouldn't mind clarifying, the playset is not the reason why I can't move the building. The playset could be moved fairly easily. That didn't really come into factor into why.
but you're trying to line it up with.
Trying to get the driveway to be usable.
And then our last is whether, if we granted a variance, whether this would preserve the spirit and intent of the zoning requirements.
Is there any wiggle room on the 15? I mean, because it is, I think in our mind from the previous, it is substantial.
Oh, okay.
Or changing the garage door entrance.
I've got it laid out with the builder that garage door would be as far to the south as possible on the building. I would probably, I don't think so. For that reason, it would be difficult to use the building if the driveway had to jog to get into it. In that short, small space between the back of the house and the front of the building. Questions?
Do I have a motion to accept or deny the application?
I'll make a motion to accept BZA 25-006 for the 10-foot variance.
I'll second.
Mr. Cook,
Yes.
Mr. Mackin,
Yes.
Mr. Harmon,
Yes.
Mrs. Cook,
No.
Mr. Sutton.
Yes. Your application is approved. Please make sure that when you do build it, that you do follow, that it's not closer than the 10 feet.
Absolutely. Thank you very much. I appreciate all of that.
That could cause a problem if you were to resell somebody today, you build it, it's only 8 feet from the property line, or 13 feet, or,
It'd be moving 15.
yeah, so.
Okay, I very much appreciate all your time. Thank you, sir.
Thank you. Is there any other business we need to discuss tonight? Although we can't discuss our next hearing we're gonna have, I do wanna make sure everybody's aware that it is November 5th at 7:30.
7:30.
7:30.
Am I dismissed? Okay,
Yeah,
thank you.
thank you.
Thank you.
Any questions on that meeting? I'm not able to go into any other details about it, so.
Yeah.
And I adjourn the BZA meeting.
So